This week on RSBANDB Update, Fame represents the goth vampires in RuneScape's 2022 Halloween event, and the purple Halloween mask arrives, providing options for fashion scapers. We then bring updates on the fan content policy and our Fresh Start World adventures. This is RSBANDB Update, episode 906, recorded Thursday, October 27th, 2022, Fashion and Fame. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another episode of RSBANDB Update. This week here, the RuneScape Halloween event has arrived for another year. Along with it comes what we thought was going to be here. We knew there was going to be some sort of tradable rare, given what we saw with Green Santa and whatnot, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome to RSBANDB Update, everyone. Tanis is here, as he is each and every week. Welcome back.
Thank you, Shane.
Also joining us this week is Pernasius. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Shane's subjecting you to the horror of my voice again.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, unless you got something scary planned, kind of how the RuneScape wiki has. Did you guys see the RuneScape wiki this week? I'm getting
with the little
with Rowena
girl from Rowena. That's the name. Yeah, love it. Just floating around the screen.
Will randomly appear on one of the sides of one of the RS wiki pages, but nonetheless, this week we'll be talking about Halloween, the purple Halloween mask, alongside an update to the fan content creation policy, and the patch notes of the week, amongst everything else. If you want to follow along, you can find full show notes at update.show. I am Shane12088 in-game, or Shane with 3 E's on Fresh Start. Tanis can be found at FSW Tanis79, and Pernasius is Pernasiab on Fresh Start, which actually sounds like something straight out of the periodic table, now that I think about it. It sounds like an element or something.
Well, I do like elemental workshops, so I'll go with that.
Okay, so we're slowly building the cast of who's going to be on for Elemental Workshop, Part 5 when that comes out. Wonderful.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah. I wish that was this week, but it's not.
Yeah, I think it was number 3. I spent 8 or 10 hours trying to, because I didn't use the wiki back then, just trying to work out all the puzzle.
Yeah, it was there. It was, I prefer that to Sliskay's Maze, but in any case, Halloween is back at Draenor Manor, running from October 24th until November 6th. All of the mini-quests from last year are back. There is a new mini-quest as well that requires you to help out Fame, and this one adds another 2% on top of the boosts in terms of the XP that is awarded for doing the activities at Draenor Manor. So that means now if you've done all the mini-quests, you're going to be able to net a grand total of a 14% boost for everything that's there, and that's something I think that people are... well, I mean, on my end, it's going to be a question of do I do that, or do I do Fresh Start? But I told myself, and I made a note of this, that I was going to go on my skill peer, which, you know, it doesn't want to do combat, so there's a way to get Slayer XP from this event. So I told myself I was going to go there and do some AFKing at the event with that after teeing off some of the quests.
I will also tell anyone who is on the Fresh Start world, or even if you're sort of leveling up through the main game, during their spooky hours, any skilling there can be done. So if you've got a bank standing skill like your fletching or herb lore or whatever, do it at the bank in front of or beside Death there, and you'll get that bonus 14% as well. So
even on the Fresh Start world?
Yep. I was testing it the other day with the fletching. I was getting the 100% extra plus an additional 14% on top of that. Took my fletching up. Oh, sorry, my fire making up. It was. I went from 45 fire making to 79 fire making.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Have I sold the Halloween
500
event to you yet, Tannis, because of this and the fresh start boost?
You just did. I wasn't sold before because
mini quests.
You know
right?
how I am when it. Yep. And
But the mini quests are so quick and easy.
They're like 5 minutes. They're not traditional mini quests that show up in the quest book or anything like that. They're literally talk to someone, go grab 2 items, bring them back.
Yeah, I had trouble
kill a couple of skeletons.
Stuff with the new one.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's just me, right? Like, if you make me look for things, it's usually a bad day. It wasn't the best of days.
Yeah, and the blood fonts that you're looking for are just west of the Draenor Lodestone by the caravan. There's one there, and then there's one in front of the Broken Home house as well. And the idea behind this mini quest is that you have to return items to Fame, and in doing so, you just go to these 2 blood fonts and then use the gilded box that you're given, and then with that you just return 2 different items to Fame, and that's the end of this. And that's the end of this mini quest, and it's an introduction to Fame, who is what could be best described as a goth vampire. You said all vampires are normally goth, but I'll just continue to call her a goth vampire on that. Some tongue-in-cheek references on one where you say you're going to use a crowbar. Your character says, "A bar of crows would not be useful here, nor in any situation, really." There is also the idea of a concentrated air rune as a way of, a condensed air rune that would be able to create intense bursts of air that could be used on the fountain. I don't know if we've ever heard of something like a condensed air rune before in game, but I guess that's the RuneScape equivalent of condensed air.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after you return those to Fame, she'll say that she's figured out the secret to the vampire's success, and I quote from the dialogue from the quest, "It's their fashion sense, darling. Don't you see it? Vampires' impressive dress sense is ageless. That's why people must flock to them." And then you return the items, and then you get 1,000 spooky tokens for doing that. And that's this year's Halloween mini quest, bringing you up to a grand total of a 14% boost for all the skills inside the Halloween event area. And as a recap, remember back in the pandemic year 2020 when we first got this event, there was the ability to make plague soup.
Yeah,
that was appreciated at the time.
And they missed the big opportunity of throwing bat bones.
The bat. Yeah.
There's also doggy bones, which is archaeology as well. Death's fastness, which is another buff. It's the fragmented souls activity. The skeleton invasion ability cooldowns are reduced by 50%. Then the shooting gallery also has a sense of boosts around it as well. And each of these boosts, if you want to boost your, efficiency at these events, can be purchased in the reward shop for your spooky tokens if you so choose to.
But just be aware also, if you are using those boosts, it's not really for the AFK side of it. It's more if you are actively participating. I bought the one for the plague soup, thinking, oh well, it'll give me 2 instead of 1 because it ups the 3 to 6. No. But no, you still only get 1 if you're not on the right one. So
yeah. And, I honestly think these events are good, and people are always going to be mixed opinion on these, but I think anytime we can kind of break up the training that people are doing, and I'd be interested to see how these go, and if I remember correctly from last year, they're not as good as actual training methods out there, but we got options in divination and runecrafting on fragmented souls. The plague soup is either cooking or herb lore, which
actually it's both. There's no way. That's the one thing I would change about it. It gives XP in both. I'd love to be able to. You can have both, or you can have one or the other.
Oh, I thought you were able to choose. Okay, well, I guess I'm not doing the Slayer one on my skill pier then, because that gives magic XP as well.
Yeah, that's right. You get XP for both skills, not just one.
All
I think
right.
you can actually. I think that's the one you can do the change. You can take no.
Oh, right.
No
You talk
magic because it's a
talk to
combat
Greg
skill.
and then you can turn it off. Fair.
That's right. But the plague soup, you get cooking and herb lore, because I would have loved just herb lore. But yeah.
Doggy Bones is archaeology and mining, and then the shooting gallery is hunter and fishing. So there we have it. And yeah, that'll be the very key point. Make sure you talk to Greg if you don't want the magic XP, because if you have some kind of anti-combat pier that you want to ruin, or you don't want to ruin like some of us do. So there's that. Rewards this year, you get the vampiric regalia for completing the mini quest Helping Fame, which I think is neat. And these cosmetic overrides are always neat looking, and they've managed to keep them in the same vein as what they've had before. So that's a positive thing if you missed out on that.
Glad it's just an override rather than another bank space.
Yes. Yes. Yep. And I think these. I mean, yeah, these look pretty decent.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously you have to kind of go in game up close to see the details on them, but they actually look like items with actual cloth on them. Specifically, the web cloak is the one I'm referring to that looks like that. There's also a new mask as well that you can get with this, the spooky ghost mask, and the hair mask, which is basically a rabbit that's half decapitated, and you wear it on its head. In that you can really only see one of the rabbit ears popping up with that, and that's why I called it half decapitated.
All right.
So.
Yeah, I mean these events are fun. I mean, yes, they are grindy. I do prefer the old little mini quests.
Yeah, one and done kind of mini quest thing.
Yeah, but these type of things I think do have their place. And yeah, it's token XP, but earning those spooky tokens and all that type of thing. For people who want to unlock it can do it, and if you don't, you don't. I mean, that's the beauty about these things. You can participate if you want to, but you're not forced to.
Yeah. Oh, and I should clarify that the hair, the spooky hair, comes from Treasure Hunter, not the actual event. I'm getting ahead of myself where we're at.
Death Mask. Yeah, Death Mask is the one you can you get unlocked through the quest.
Yeah, and the regalia outfit and the web cloak. So, and we talked about Treasure Hunter. I'm not going to go through what each of the events look like, but let's just crack open the egg right now and deal with this. The new tradable items on Treasure Hunter, as we mentioned, the Bulap sack, the spooky hair, and the spooky ghost masks. All right, take them or leave them. Halloween themed.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe the Bulap bag might seem interesting, or the hair that is missing part of its ear. But we had a green Santa hat last Christmas. Right now, this Halloween, we have a purple Halloween mask.
There's a couple producers I thought of when I heard it was purple.
Oh, Zant.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, come on. This wouldn't go with Sirion's shorts.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Again, I mean, there's a lot of jump up and down about this type of stuff being on Treasure Hunter. I don't mind it myself. I don't really. I'm not going to spend money on it. I'll use my free keys if I get one. Good. If I don't, well, at the end of the
not the end of the world.
I'll buy one. Exactly. I've got all the other three, so I do want to get this one, but I'll just buy it as normal.
Yeah, and see, you have a reason for that, just like I had a reason with the green Santa hat back at Christmas, and that I had the red and the black.
Yeah.
That's it. And we talked about this at our roundtable this past weekend, and Tanis, Sirion, myself, and a couple others went into this. And, I mean, should we do the odds first, or should we break open the usual treasure hunter microtransaction discussion? Tanis, what do you think? You want to do the odds first, or
let's do the odds?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 0.2% chance to get it from a key, which with that puts you at about 500 keys to get one. And I'm quoting from the RuneScape subreddit post that was done by Rubik on this. I ran some back of the envelope numbers as well, and I generally agree with an average of about 500 expected keys to get a mask at 0.2%, which is silly rare when you compare it to other games' loot boxes. Like if we look at the Star Trek Online loot boxes to win the grand prize tier 6 ships, those are about a 1% chance of getting it per box. So this is much rarer than that. And we say average 500 keys. That doesn't mean you buy a 450 plus a 50 pack, you're going to be guaranteed to get it. No, it just means that most of the time, if you do that, you will get it. You could still, in theory, purchase the 1,000 plus keys or 2,000 plus keys and not get this purple Halloween mask. And
do 6,100 kills at Kriara before you get the pet, which was a 1
oh my god! Well, there you go. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and that can happen.
And when you start breaking it down like this, it's obviously a proven method that's worked for Jagex to monetize Treasure Hunter around the holidays. And people, and this is where we started at the roundtable, is that people have always said that they wanted to see tradable rares come back into game. Well, here we are.
Way to do it.
And the question I posed at the roundtable, did people think that they were going to drop them like they did back in 2002? That's not how rares and cosmetics are done today in any game. And
I was going to say, it's not how gaming is done at all today.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not necessarily outright blanket defending the use of Treasure Hunter and microtransactions to bring these rares into the game. All I'm saying is that with the game that we have and the infrastructure that Jagex has regarding microtransaction and money making, you would expect them to do something like this, because to not do it, they would be effectively putting money on the table and walking away from it. And as much as some people might not like to hear that, that's not a good business decision at the end of the day, which I think is one of the key points that was left out in terms of the general community reaction on these rares. Tanis, I know we talked about this lots at the round table. Is there anything from the round table or based on these odds or anything you want to bring into this?
No, I mean, I think we have our rares back. Now this has never been something that really interested me, a whole lot. It's not that you can't do. We've seen an alternate method when it comes to like the gold party hat, right? Like you can
hunt it for shards,
right? So you can do that, but when we're talking about a holiday, holiday events,
an iconic holiday event,
yeah, a few times, once a year, a few times a year. I don't think there's any problem with doing it like this. Once in a while, let there be a golden party hat, but I mean, that's exactly what we've been getting. So I don't have any criticism of this.
No.
And if they make money off of it, great. I mean, and here's the other thing. People have always said, like, well, we don't care if it's just some kind of cosmetic thing, or, I mean, what's more cosmetic than freaking purple mask?
Yeah, or the green Halloween mask, right?
I mean, it's not gonna do anything for you. Like, it's not game breaking. It ain't giving you no edge.
No.
It's just making you feel good when you walk around. Like, look at me. Like, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this for anybody out there who is contemplating spending money on Treasure Hunter to try and get one of these, and I want to underscore, if you are contemplating spending money on Treasure Hunter to get this Halloween mask, number one, make sure that you have the disposable budget to do that. But instead of spending on Treasure Hunter, I'd say instead of gambling to get it. If you're going to spend that money on Treasure Hunter anyways, and you can do that safely, buy bonds and just buy it outright off the Grand Exchange.
Yeah.
This thing started at max cash, and it's already down to 250, 300 mil last I heard.
Yeah, you would be way better off, because people
a bond
here,
is like 60 mil right now.
Well, and people hear like, oh, it's gonna, it's a every 500 keys, it's the average. That's the average. It's still each and every key is a 0.02% chance or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand about averages. Each roll is 0.02. It doesn't mean that
it doesn't get better each time.
I'm going to do 10 rolls. That gives me a 2% chance. No, it doesn't work that way. No. I mean, for people who want all the extra, the bonus XP, lamps and stars and all that type of stuff,
sure, maybe
go ahead
do
and
it then.
buy those 450 keys, because you're going to get all that as well. If you're solely after the Halloween mask, then do as Shane says: grab a bond, grab 2 bonds, sell those, get your gold, and just get it that way. I mean, this is ultimately how Treasure Hunter should work. I don't think you should be getting, XP lamps and, your proteins and all that, which give you an advantage in game. Pure cosmetics is the best way to go. And this is exactly what people were screaming about 3 or 4 years ago. Take all this stuff off. We only want... you should only be doing cosmetics. So they do a cosmetic, and now people are screaming because it's a rare. But
and
that's the whole idea. Cosmetics should be rare.
On the roundtable.
Right.
That's it. I mean, I love this way of doing it. I enjoyed the golden party hat way, but that also brought money in, because I made 4 new accounts to make 4 extra party hats, so I had 5 all up. You could do it that way. People make extra accounts. You draw money in that way, or you throw it on Treasure Hunter. People who want to get involved can do it. You can buy it, through the GE and all that. I think this was perfect. Yeah, we Jagex is not a charity,
and let me just make it clear: if we look at Star Trek Online, you're doing the same gamble percentage to get some of the highest end DPS in the game. That's how they do it. Or ships that, appear for a couple seconds in one of the episodes. That's how they do it. And granted, that's still a cosmetic-y thing, but this is something we only see at the holidays on Jagex's end. And I think we've had the discussion before, and it needs to be a measured, insane discussion about the balance between making money and the balance between predatory microtransactions.
Exactly.
And
that's exactly what I was going to say. If they're only doing this during holiday events, perfect. If they were doing this every week, I'd have an issue.
Right, and at that point,
when they're doing it 3 or 4 times a year, when it's happening 3 or 4 times a year, that's fine. And and as you said, it's not something that's going to give you a boost to go and kill Yakamaru by yourself, or go down and clean out whichever the best boss is at the moment, and get all the things off him. It's not giving you any actual in-game advantage. It is purely a mask that you wear, and that's it.
I think you summed it up pretty well on that. And, when it comes to it at the end of the day, if there's anybody out there who does feel strongly about microtransactions, and particularly these kind of treasure hunter based events, please do let us know, because we like to have the conversation about that kind of thing, and we like to do it in an even and balanced way. And I feel like we presented one side of it here, but I would like at some point for us to be able to present the other side to it, for somebody who has orchestrated their points of view in a nice, clear, concise way that can talk about, well, this is why we don't like these, this is why they might be a problem to the game. I'd like to see that presented, and maybe if somebody did show up with that perspective, we could produce something and get them on the show with that. So if you have any thoughts on this, please do let us know. But
if I can bring up one issue I do have with this event, is the hodments that you get. It doesn't matter if you get the easy prize, the yellow, the orange, the red. if you cash it in, you only get 50 hodments.
Oh yeah, that
because I always cash mine in, and I didn't even realize, and I'm just clicking cash in, cash in for hot, and I go, hang on a sec, I'm giving up all this stuff. I gave up a purple prize, and I got 50 hodments.
Oh.
So I do wish that they would do it more like normal oddments, where the higher the rarer the drop, the more oddments you get. But yeah, that is my one.
Yeah, that makes
grief
sense.
Point
I
on
mean,
this.
they did that at Christmas with the oddments, and I don't know why that wouldn't be happening here. All right, so before we move on and talk about the fan content creation policy, I want to thank some Patreon supporters this week for making this week's episode possible. I'd like to thank Amos Reed, Andrew C., Arvids L., Bear Down, Beekeeper Steve, Big Huge Rat, Bryflex, Chunk the Monk, Corey D, Psychol RS, Diana, Drama Free, Flaza Man, Free Milk, Jacob G, Jade Gizmo, Jason S, Jeebus, Jesse W, Ling01, Mohan V, Nate the Great, Nick G, OTR Gamer, Pernasius, Ricky A, Samuel FL, Skiotan, Scott DS, Shirt Pants, Stabeve, Tabby, The Naked Captain, Tom V, and Zant. Thank you, everybody, for your support. It truly means the world to us. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, you can find out more at patreon.com/RSBNB. There, you can support the podcast monetarily if you so choose to. For starting as little as $1 a month, you'll gain access to an entire back catalog of 50-plus monthly bits, our bonus episodes. The poll just concluded for the monthly bit that will be coming out at the start of November, and that one will be covering Dailyscape Part 3, how dailies could be made better in RuneScape. So we look forward to talking about that. Should be a fun discussion given that we started off with our tier list. And, of course, you get all that. You get to vote on that, and you get access to that entire back catalog for as little as $1 a month. If you want to give a little bit more, we have a VIP tier for $3 a month where you receive a special VIP rank on Discord and chat channel access, in addition to high-quality stereo versions of the show. And if you want to give the ultimate gift, we have a $5 a month plan where you'll receive a shout-out on the podcast each and every week, and you'll get exclusive access to the outtakes we use to make the clip show at the end of the year, which I can already guarantee. There's going to be a couple from this week's episode as well. One from pre-show and one from the main show that will probably be edited out for the sake of people's eardrums and whatnot. But patreon.com/RSBNB. Last weekend we had our roundtable. It was so fun to sit and chat with the Patreon community. So if this sounds interesting to you or you just want to support the podcast, check us out at patreon.com/RSBNB. And we're almost halfway there to the final Hot Ones challenge, which is going to be the spicy plate. But we'll talk more about that as we get closer. And if this sounds interesting to you, patreon.com/RSBNB. Thanks so much, everybody. It means the world to us.
Thanks.
Yeah, tennis burning at both ends.
Yeah.
That's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bet you're not looking forward to that after your stomach issues this summer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a lot of milk.
Oh, dear.
Just have a bottle of olive oil beside you and just take a mouthful of that every year.
What? You're supposed to drink what with that?
Olive oil actually also helps.
Really?
Some people can't stomach milk, or the milk can sometimes have an adverse effect for some people. And olive oil, just a spoonful of olive oil and swallow that down with it, and that puts a nice coating on and settles everything down. I prefer the milk personally, but
all right. Well, there we go.
I'll Chinese remedy that one.
Many methods involved.
When my daughter was 12, we went to a Chinese restaurant, and I always get the hot spicy stuff. And I had a bet with her because she's going, the chili, I could eat that. So I bet her $5 that she couldn't eat one of the whole chilies by itself. So she did. She goes, that wasn't too bad. And then, like 30 seconds later, the tears start coming, and she was going. They ran out a bottle of olive oil for her and said, "No, take this, take this." I said, "No, no milk. No, olive oil best, olive oil best." And yeah, she was fine after the olive oil. So yeah.
So this is what people can expect with that when we get there.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. But we're going to go back in time to July right now. You'll recall that back in July, we had lengthy discussions with Chaos Elemental, fan fiction writer, regarding the new fan content policy about what was being talked about and came down from the legal team. We didn't know particularly why the decisions were made about this, but we finally have an update on the fan content policy from Jagex this week, and the post reads in part, we saw some really positive feedback about this from most of our creative communities, but for fan fiction writers, it's clear the policy intentions around word count could impact the creativity of some of the more prolific writers among us. So, there is now an updated version of the policy that has been published, where section 4.1.4 now reads that for fan fiction, you can write stories inspired by your adventures in-game and share these on non-commercial third-party fanfiction sites like fanfiction.net or archiveofourown.org, provided you do not receive payment for them in return. And if you intend to write a piece of fanfiction for a commercial site, such as Amazon, for example, for a commercial publication in a physical form, or as a paid commission for publication or commercial use, then you need to run that by Jagex first. And if you look at the entire fan content creation policy with this now, I'd say that this probably irons out the most contentious bit of this document, because that word count was very arbitrary at the end of the day, and a lot of people were asking why that's the case, and is this going to be, the precursor to Jagex clamping down on the IP, going after fan fiction writers specifically. But the feedback was heard. It obviously, being a legal document, takes time to work its way through the legal systems of Jagex, the corporation, since, as we all know, companies do have legal divisions like this that it can take some time to operate on. But hopefully, by the end of the day, this policy is more clear and kind of irons out most of the issues that were being had by people on this. So.
Yep. And that's it. If you're making money off it, it's their intellectual property. Well, they have the right to say no and such. But if it's just a fan piece, and that's one good thing about Jagex. They're happy for people just to make fan fiction, fan pictures, do your YouTube videos and all that type of stuff. I think they're very lenient on a lot of the stuff they allow that way compared to a lot of other companies.
Well, and I mean, even under musical content, it says you can create covers or remixes of RuneScape and old school songs.
As long as you don't sell it and make money off it.
Exactly.
For commercial
and
use.
You can also, of course, play RuneScape and old school music on Twitch or YouTube while you stream, or use as background in your videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which,
and that is nice.
I mean, that's big big for a game, because there's some other games out there that don't even let you do that. So, very accommodating now, and I think that irons out most of the issues. So, that's a good news story this week. But with that, we can move on to our patch notes of the week, which we do have a few of them. Some surrounding Wilderness Flash events. So starting off, Iron accounts can now correctly open the rewards from the Flash events. They couldn't do that before. That was hotfixed on launch week.
Ouch.
The teleport issue that Zerdones talked about last week has been fixed, and that you can now teleport to the next Flash event from the event hosts if you've completed the far-reaching and wide-ranging achievement, which is to complete all of the events up to 5 minutes before the event starts. So it kind of just takes the question about where they're going to be, but you have to complete them all first. And then moving on to general patch notes. This is an interesting one. This is the best one. Clicking a whirligig scarab that's far away will no longer cause you to run around the Oasis pool. And the first the first scarab in a stack will now always succeed, so your croc won't get confused when you send him out for the first time.
That's cool. I remember that being, yeah, that was
annoying.
pain in the, yeah, when I first tried it out. Mm-hmm.
There is an unintended, or what I am assuming, an unintended side effect with this one, about this. You like your multitasking on RS, right, Tennis?
Yeah.
At Het's Oasis, you can, at one of the spots with this, you could actually train hunter and farming at the same time by standing in one spot next to the flower and controlling the croc directly from that same spot.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which I think sounds like a bug, in all honesty. Because I don't know that you should be able to do both at the same time.
Probably not intended.
So that's something that will hopefully get highlighted and people won't get penalized over if they did it accidentally, because I know it's relatively easy to do. You just click on the farming flower and then click on the scarab, and that'll do what you need to do.
But that's like that one where they do the fletching and something at the same time.
I mean, I guess, but this one you don't even need to move. Or do any inventory management, now that I think about it. So,
but you still have to click and move backwards and forwards with your mouse and things, so I don't see that as being a serious issue. There's not too many people who are going to be sitting there sort of hardcoring that type of thing.
Yeah, and it's only one of the flower spots. It's not the big tier 91 that so many of us have been spending our time at. Us, I mean me. But more on that later. The side door of the Champions Guild now requires at least 33 quest points to enter. Okay, interesting. That's the Dragon Slayer requirement, quest point. And in terms of quests, they shuffled some around for players who were completing the quest in timeline order, in that the Blood Pact has been moved in the sort to between Cook's Assistant and the Restless Ghost for an early intro to combat prior to the Skeletal Warlock. Okay, that makes sense, I guess, for people who are just progressing through the list timeline-based.
Yeah.
Recipe for Disaster has been moved from Heroic to Legendary, so it's listed after its requirement of Legends, Monkey Madness, and Desert Treasure. What do you think about it?
Too.
Yeah, because I wouldn't call Recipe for Disaster a heroic quest. It's definitely in that Legends category, given that it has so many of these high requirements to it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Move the Great Brain Robbery in the time list sort from Heroic to Legendary and below Recipe for Disaster, as it actually requires the Recipe for Disaster freeing Pirate Pete mini-quest. And Pieces of Hate has been reclassed from Master to Grandmaster, as it requires multiple 80+ skills, and it moves the Pirate finale in line from Legendary to Mythic, along with the finales of the Elf, Dwarf, and Myrek storylines.
Okay, plus that mini game is kind of hard. I know I struggled with it.
Which?
The Pieces of Hate.
From in that quest. Okay.
Yeah, the tower, basically tower defense.
Right. Reclassed the Desert Slayer dungeon mini quest difficulty from intermediate to master, as its skill requirements are in the 60 to 80 bracket, which moves it from champion to legendary. That's a pretty big step up, but everybody should do that one after you've done smoking kills and whatnot. And then finally, simplified the requirements of the Wandering Gull mini quest, and Earth saw this one, and he was like, whoa, my years of waiting have finally paid off. And he's talking because the Obsidian Shard requirement is no longer there. So it's just so interesting to see these people who have been waiting so long to do one of these quests, but now the gate is open, and it's going to be easier to complete than it was previously. So I think at the end of the day, that's probably a good decision to make, especially on the Wandering Gull front.
Yeah, I think so.
Then, Let There Be Light. The festival and surrounding areas of Dimension of Disaster are now glowing, so you can enjoy it in all its splendor. Of course, this is the Defender of Varrock 200th quest that they did, and Maud Blackwitch was on Twitter with this one and said that she also left a surprise in the area for people, which I think at this point we can only gather what that means.
Free blue party hats for everyone.
No, it's probably another Majorat painting.
Okay.
Which, you know, makes sense given the past history of that. And there's actually an image on Twitter of how it's improved. And previously it was so dark that you couldn't even see it, Tanis. I don't even, you know, if you would have been in here, I would have no idea how you would have managed that, but it looks a lot better now than it did before.
Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't have managed it. I wouldn't have known it was there.
And then remove some old-style grass foliage from a farming patch in Varrock. Always got to throw these one little things in, how there's just a few blades of grass that Jagex needs to fix out with this. And then
maybe it's the next iteration of Mod Days' homework. The next step. Maybe that's what he's put in there.
Oh, that'd be funny. Oh,
we haven't had an update in that in years. The next part.
And this is a call out for Maud Blackwitch to maybe do a similar kind of path-based thing like that, where you have to go around to all the hidden paintings in the game, and then you get some kind of weird token item at the end. That might be a funny thing to have. On mobile, battery and Wi-Fi indicators have been added to the UI, and the graphical settings interface has been reorganized again. And that's the patch notes of the week. Not too bad. I think we got a good selection here, combined with Halloween, and that's what we would expect from an update this week. So overall, pretty good week, I think, on the RuneScape front. But we're going to talk about what we've been up to right now on Fresh Start Worlds. And Tanis, every time I say Fresh Start, it almost sounds like it's got to be RuneScape Strange New Worlds for some reason. But because there have been some strange things, I think, haven't there?
Maybe. No, here and there. Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's because just like Strange New Worlds, this brought the magic of the original back. You know?
Yeah.
That new and nostalgic feeling.
Start us off. What have you been up to the last week?
All right. So, I've basically been doing a lot of smithing, mining, and breaking things down for invention, doing some invention training, but when I'm not doing that stuff, I'm doing, crafting some urns, gathering some energy, making some necklaces for my porters, stuff that, people that have Iron Man, they're used to this stuff, but it's new for the rest of us because there's still no economy. And if you do manage to have some money, you still can't buy the things that you need anyway. So, a lot of Iron Man out here, basically. But I am up to 1265 total level.
Damn.
Yay! And we're at just hit 94 mining while we've been recording here. So I'm doing that on Anachronia, and I am 83 smithing, and I have all of the ore, I have all the Bane to take that up to 92. So I will be doing that when I'm done mining here, and otherwise just cruising along, just enjoying it. I mean, I haven't played the main game basically since I've been at it here, but just loving Fresh Start. So,
did you know you're ranked 580 in crafting?
No, I had no idea.
What have you been doing for crafting?
Well, to unlock invention, I did gemstones, and then I've been doing some urns, just for my mining and wood cutting and stuff.
All right, that's fair. So, what did you? And I feel like we should be diving into this a bit more because this was a topic at the roundtable as well. And has it progressed since then on the invention side? Because you mentioned you were doing a lot of Iron Manning with it. What did you settle on for instead of breaking things down for invention?
Well, there's just no easy way of doing some of those, but I found a relatively decent way of making hammertrons, and so that's going to come in real handy while I'm smithing, and that's probably how I'm going to be training a lot of invention, at least in the near future, and that is to make rune scimitars, because you get the base parts, you get the sharp parts, you get but what I'm trying to get is the subtle parts, and you don't get very many, and they're kind of hard to come by. They're rare, but that's been the best way I found to get them. And then powerful components I've been getting from insulated boots. Once again, rare. You don't get very many.
But insulated boots are cheap enough.
Exactly. And especially in a game with a fledgling economy, right? Like it's, I'm still playing this economy game where even when you go to the GE, like those prices, you don't really know what to put in. You don't know what it's buying
because
for.
Because the guide prices are from RS3.
Right. And so, so I've just found, I've always kind of been Iron Man curious, and this is definitely tipping my toe in the water.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
But yeah, that's everything on this end.
Anything else you'd like to share otherwise?
No, not really.
All right. Pernasius, how's your fresh start been going?
Yeah, really well. Still loving it. Total skill level 1592.
Holy cow.
Level 101 in combat and 117 quest points. Basically working, just depends what I feel like, but I'm slowly trying to get everything to level 80, and then I can start invention as well, because obviously the 3 skills I need there. Magic, I'm 19k off level 80. That's my highest. Slayer, I actually hit 70 last night, but I need to. I've got black demons, and I took those in the wilderness and took the extra contract off that little guy down there, Haskin or Erskine or whatever his name is. But killing them with magic at level 70 is very hard. They really are range creatures.
And you know what that illustrates? And this is a comment on the RS combat system, is that one of the biggest things that people are going to run up to in terms of having problems with combat in this game is accuracy. And we're feeling that all in Fresh Start Worlds.
Exactly, because in the main game we all I've got level 90 and 92 weapons, so going out there you 3 or 4 hit them and you're done. Now it's taken 45 seconds to a full minute to kill a black demon. So just having a ton of fun. Getting everything there. As I've got the magic pet.
Nice.
Oh wow!
Got that as a drop. I'm working. I want to get fire making to level 82 so I can start the good and bad eggs in Anachronia.
But you also have to have done extinction for that.
Yes, I'm working on that quest series as well. So once I get that, that's probably going to be my main source of dinosaur drops for there, because obviously Anachronia also you can't just build something there. You've got to use the resources from Anachronia. So sort of they're building up while I'm trying to get all that done. So yeah, just having a ton of fun. pretty much everything is at least level 50 with the exception of dungeoneering, fletching, and ranging, which I just hit level 40 on. Everything else is 50.
How have you found the economy? Have you run into that same economy problem that Canis has?
Yeah, same thing. I wanted to I needed to get my herblore up to level 57 to do Fairy Tales Part 2 and 3. And yeah, I put just some of the sort of Irrits and Ranar in because they're the ones that's easiest to get the secondaries for. 3 times the GE limit still doesn't buy. So you have
the
to
wheels are turning in my head right now.
Yeah. So I'm trying to collect the seeds I can collect and grow my own, but seeds aren't easy to come by. Not for the ones you want. I mean, heaps of Guams and Taraman and Harrowlanders and such, but the Irrits and the Ranar and all that, when they're 1 in 128 kill drops, and you need 4 for a farm run, it's not that easy. So yeah, the economy, it's great to see. That's the other side I'm seeing, because in the main game, when you want to do, okay, I want to do, you get my herb lore up, so I'll just go and buy a bunch of herbs, do it. Or I'll just buy a bunch of seeds, grow the herbs, work my farming up at the same time. But you can't do that here. You've got to actually, work out ways to do it all. So the economy is really interesting. Now, Wiki does actually have at the bottom, if you have a look on it now, under where the main game price is, they do have a little fresh starts price.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know how accurate it is, but yeah, some of the things.
So just on any item then?
General, any item, yeah. Like I was getting grapes because I knew grapes were fairly expensive in normal RS3. They were like 2,500 GP each or something, but they're like 9 GP. They list as in Fresh Start Worlds. But yeah,
really?
It's really, really interesting to see. And the thing is, what you remember as well is if things aren't really selling in this game, don't just drop your price, because when you do convert to the normal game,
you get to keep it. Yeah,
you're going to have all that's there. You get to keep all that stuff, and you can chuck it in and make a bit of gold there too. But yeah, it really is more sort of. It plays into my game style of sort of more Iron Manning most of the things that I do. So,
and that's the thing that people have realized that they've had to do for this is to show this and say, oh, well, okay, maybe this isn't available. We kind of got to Iron Man it. And, based on some of these prices here, I don't know how accurate they are. I just looked up the Golden Rose price. It says 31K on the Fresh Start Worlds on the wiki thing. I can tell you that Golden Roses yesterday were selling for about 3 times that.
Yeah, if people are selling them, because a lot of these things people are keeping.
Because there's only going to be a handful of us who are actually supplying those Golden Roses.
Exactly. Things like as I said, Irrit. I've got Irrit in at 3 times. The price that they were sort of coming up as, and still not buying. So yeah, just lots of fun, and if you can find an item that people are after and buying, and you can pretty much set your own price in there, because if people are just sort of clicking that plus 20, plus 20,
yep.
plus 20,
yep.
They'll eventually hit your figure, and you'll make yourself a bit of GP.
Yeah. All right. And, Fresh Start Worlds has always been such an interesting thing from the time we first heard about it till now.
Yeah.
But before we go to me, we're going to hear Thaxie's Fresh Start update right now.
Heyo, just chiming in for another Fresh Start update. It's been a couple of weeks since the show with all the craziness that happened last week. We didn't record one because we figured the show would be running long. But since in the last couple of weeks, my Fresh Start has been just lovely. I'm still taking it relatively easy on Fresh Start. I'm not crazy pushing. I'm not, going for anything fancy. I am playing RuneScape for funsies, which for me includes emptying out my quest list as fast as possible. I think I talked about this last time that my goal was I hit base 30s and I'm going to empty my quest list. I'm going to tell you right now, my quest list still has things on it. I am sorting it by region, and generally it goes fresh to or free to play, and then kind of east to west across the regions. And I am in the middle of Kandarin right now, so I'm getting closer to done. But it's like every time I complete a quest, it feels like either the reward XP or the or the quest requirements complete for another quest in a previous region. So I've gone back to Falador Park like 4 times. I've gone back to Varrock Palace a bunch of times. Like all these things, I keep going back to these old places, and it's fun, but it's also like kind of nuts feeling. I passed 100 quests the other day, and there's 235, 237, something like that quests in the game. So I'm approaching halfway done. Very much approaching halfway done, and I am, again, base 40s, largely off of quest XP from 30, which is also kind of cool. But it's crazy how many quests you can do at such a low level, and I've still got a lot left to go. Like all the early elf quests, I've got a bunch of the Fremi quests that still need to get done. So I'm going to end up at like 150, 170 quests done, just starting from base 30s. By the time my quest list is empty and I can get back to skilling. But, everything's going well that wise. Halo bits, obviously, with having like a lot of quest points, and I got one of the Halo fragments from achievement points from, again, questing and just generally doing things as I'm leveling up. Getting a bunch of points from achievement points from leveling too, of course. But I think I'm at 2 or 3 from total level, 1 from achievements, and I'm approaching my 4th Halo fragment from quest points. So I'm about to finish my Halo of Returning, which is exciting, just to kind of have that done. I would love to get my Questcape done before week 8 is up, but we'll see how doable that is at this point. I've still got a long way to go, and the quests don't get harder or don't get easier. Plus the requirements going up. Either way, fun fresh start facts for the week. The Boon of Endurance that gives you infinite run energy, lovely for quests. Especially when like Viswax isn't necessarily a thing yet, and so I'm not fast teleporting to like load zones and stuff, so sometimes it is faster to like run places. I'm not using wall runes to teleport around. I'm like having the unlimited run energy for so many quests, for running on Anachronia, for all of these things, it is so nice. Especially since I can like run around in full-on armor at all times and not have to worry about it. Like really be just weighed down. So that's lovely. And then of course it also works for stuff like the familiarization D&D, which got to do every week because it gives the piece of that shaman's outfit. And having infinite run energy makes that D&D kind of a joke, but I ain't complaining. Otherwise, the only other big update for me is that I did complete my set of grinding with Shane in ED3. God bless him for being patient with me, trying to like figure out how that works. In terms of getting who's tanking and getting all that stuff figured out, like truly, what a saint of a human. But got myself up to 80-something range now, and 60 in all of my melee stats and magic, which is just a lot of for quest requirements. And just nonsense and getting Slayer done and those kind of things, making feel good, but having the tier 3 fresh start weapon for each of them. Defense will be next. And yeah, that's kind of it. ED3, result of all of that, ED3 still needs a nerf. Where like every single ad I killed was getting me a level starting from 50. Like it's actually nuts. I literally tag the thing once and then it dies, and I just gain a level. And given that is fresh start, and I think I had the full on 2 times XP for that, plus any other boosts, but still, ED3 is maybe a little too strong even with nerfs. Whoops. But hey, decent early alks, all that stuff. So that's it. That's the update. Hopefully we'll be back next week with getting back into skilling with the emptier quest list and we'll let you know how many quests that ends up being. And that's it. Ciao.
I don't know that it's necessary that he called me a saint of a human in regards to our elite dungeon farming for combat XP, but I guess it is what it is, because we did take that trip out there to head to Elite Dungeon 3, which, yes, as he says, is still pretty broken in that regards for combat XP. But my week has been fairly uneventful, fresh start wise. Farming, and so on. I've gone from 101 last Thursday to now about 200k out from level 105. That's where I'm at.
Nice. Very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that? Still at top 20?
Yep. Last I looked, I was still holding rank 20.
Yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at.
I know.
Mhm,
I
see.
know. And wait, is that a sneeze joke from earlier?
Uh-huh.
I had to remove that because I'm not in the habit of screaming in the listeners' ears, especially when they when that happens.
I'll
but
have to get the clip show to hear my fearful reaction.
I slipped to
out of me.
I slipped to rank 21, but still not too bad on that. I'm not too fussed about rank. I am going for 120. At this point, I'll just keep doing the competitive thing as long as I hold top 100 at this point, because, why not? I'm here. This is just what getting to 120 has done for me. Right now, the wait is trying to finish up the Anachronia stuff to get that breeding pen going, and then we could get into the big numbers with the dinosaurs and whatnot, because that is something that is going to be needed. But unfortunately, I'm about 3 to 4 days behind on my Anachronia stuff because I forgot to go there on day one and turn that on. So that's one mistake I made, and I'm still kicking myself for that one. We have verified that the assist system can be used for building pens, so everybody else in front of me who does not have high construction doesn't need to worry. They can just find an assist of someone who has relatively high-level construction to help them build pens. I thought, going back, that you could not use the assist system for that, so you can. So that's something I wanted to note. I also got a few Siku trees in the ground for the fruit as well, and I hit 1,000 total levels, so that's the second piece of my purple halo as well that I'm going to be pulling in together and whatnot. So it's been much like you guys, it's been a truly unique experience. Yesterday, I had a discussion with some people at the Hetz farming area. One of them was slightly ahead of me. One of them was slightly behind me in terms of the high score ranking system. And, everybody was very, very nice to each other, even the fact this was the competitive period. Apparently, in some skills like herb lore and construction, there are people trying to corner the market for other people in that skill. So say somebody is trying to train herblore, or someone's trying to train construction, they're trying to find ways to sabotage people on that. Thankfully, that doesn't seem to be happening in farming, because what we actually agreed to, a few of us who were farming at Hetz Oasis, and I couldn't believe this, everybody agreed to it. I suggested the idea. I said, hey, if any of us get dinosaurs first, let's share them around. Use the dinosaurs we breed, pair off a couple for each of us here. It's going to be, 6 in total. We can, each take the hit from that with how much time we're spending at Hetz, and, just help each other out in terms of getting dinosaurs. And everybody, the 3 or 4 of us there, agreed to that. So we're going to keep in contact and do that as we get our Anachronia farms going up. And that's a level of cooperation I think we haven't seen in the main game for a long time, or hasn't been necessary in the main game because we've had the economy.
Yeah.
And that's it, working with your friends and all that to help each other out and things. That's what gaming's all about. I know it's competitive and such, but still, you don't be a douchebag about it. Try and wreck other people's things.
Have you guys run into anybody like that was being extra helpful?
No, well, again, only the sort of the people in our little group, our little clan, chatting together and giving each other ideas and things. And I made a couple of pickaxes for for one of the clan quest people who come in late.
Yeah.
And again, if anyone wants anything, I mean, I'm level 61 in smithing, so if you need hatchets or pickaxes or anything like that, just give us a yell.
And Tanis, you'll be able to provide Elder Rune to people eventually.
Yeah, and I had a friend that helped me upgrade my ore box and my pickaxe because my smithing's about 10 levels behind my mining. So even though I can mine things, I couldn't.
Oh, so you can
smith
actually
them.
use higher level ore box even if you don't have the level.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, we were wondering about that.
Well, I mean, I couldn't make it, right? So that's the problem. Like, I could mine Elder Rune, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
smith
and I
Elder
mean,
Rune.
with that, you kind of just at that point enter into an agreement with somebody, and you'll be able to make something beneficial for the both of you, or just help each other out of the goodness of your heart, which is what it's all about, I think.
Yeah.
So, so fun.
Yeah, that's
with
all.
everything we've been
The other
doing.
day, because I had my 60 crafting, my 60 construction, which I got up to do the farms, and there was a guy who was there. He goes, "Oh, I didn't realize I need that. Can you give me an assist?" I said, "Yeah, if it works," because this was before we knew. So we tried it, and yeah, he was able to build his medium and large pens.
Nice. And
So
I just want to, and I think this is such a nice thing to highlight too for Fresh Start, because a lot of times in MMOs and games, people become faceless and you lose that person-to-person touch. But what we've proven with Fresh Start is that's still all there right behind the scenes. It just requires a very specific set of circumstances to bring it out.
Yeah.
So,
just chat to people.
um,
People will ask, and just be friendly. I mean, we're all here for fun, so don't wreck it for anyone else. And
if
someone help them, and they'll help you.
if anybody wants a place to chat about Fresh Start, you can enter Friends Chat BitsBytes. We got lots of Fresh Start people in there, lots of podcast people in there. If you want to chat in there, the Friends Chat is BitsBytes. But if you want something that's directly Fresh Start related, and maybe you're already in a Friends Chat, or maybe you just want a group of pure Fresh Start people, we actually made a clan last week after the show called Fresh Quest. 2 words, Fresh then Quest, with a space in between. If you want to join that, please do pop in and guest, and just mention to anybody in there that you want to join. We set it up so that anybody can invite beyond the 2nd rank. Once we know you're a real person, we give you the 2nd rank, and you can basically invite whoever you want to it. And the idea behind that is that we want to make it as easy as possible for anybody to gain access to a social environment for Fresh Start. So the clan's name is Fresh Quest. We don't have Citadel access yet because that's not provided on Fresh Start due to the World Shard limitations, and we also don't get any boosts, of course, because of the competitive period and whatnot. But it still serves as a good social organizing area. We've organized a few Elite Dungeon runs out of there last weekend as well. A few of them actually organized a group dungeoneering run, believe it or not. So,
Nice.
Fresh Quest is the name. If you're looking for a place to join, or you just want to guest, come along, say hi. You'll see lots of friendly faces in there, or the Friends Chat BitsBytes. But we're going to move on to achievements of the week. We don't have any achievements from the Fresh Start Worlds this week. If you want your Fresh Start achievements read out on the podcast, visit update.show/FSW. And with that, just fill out the form, give us your RuneScape name, and give us permission, yes, to read your achievements on the show, and then we'll work those into the podcast as we progress along. So with that, we do have some achievements from the main game right now. So, Perdasius, you can start us off.
Yep, we have Atma Hua, who reached 120 archaeology on October 26. Also on October 26, Legend Dies hit 120 invention. And Muse, 120 invention, also on the 26th of October.
Nicely done.
Nice.
And Muse is a hardcore, so that is that's a good one for invention.
Very cool. All right, moving on the 25th, we have Lady Claw with 120 fishing. And then on the 24th, we have Shadow Lead with 120 archaeology. And then on the 23rd, we have Beekeeper Steve with 99 dungeoneering.
Nicely done. Continuing on the 23rd, we have Jungle Biscuit with 120 rune crafting, Fire Frit with 120 prayer on the 20th, and Lady Claw with 120 crafting as well on the 20th. Nicely done, everybody. Huge slate of achievements this week.
Yeah, it's big 120s.
Alrighty, Pern, you have another TV show for us. What is it this week?
I do, and sticking to the Halloween theme, season 2 of Chucky started this week. Now, for those who are old like me, Chucky was a series of movies back in the 80s. They were comedy horrors about a little doll that come alive. A guy put his soul into one, and it got given to a kid, and then it went around and was sort of killing everyone. And through the second one, everyone was blaming the kid. It was just those good, funny comedy shows from back then. And anyway, last year they brought out a TV series of it on Sci-Fi. Bringing back the original cast, Brad Dourif plays Chucky, or the voice of Chucky, because obviously Chucky is an actual doll. But we do see sort of a bit of his life before he became Chucky as well. His wife is in it as well. She plays Nika. And Jennifer Tilly, for poker fans will know her, but she's an actress who is in it, and she plays the Tiffany doll in it. Now, you're hearing a lot of dolls. There are 3 dolls that are actually in it, but it is mainly all human actors and such. And the first episode back for season 2 stars Liv Morgan from the WWE. She said a little while ago she was talking about this show and loved it so much, and she said she'd love to be killed by Chucky on TV. They actually wrote a part for her and invited her in for the first episode, so she's on that. But for anyone who just likes that comedy horror, it's got a bit of blood and gore and such in it, but it is a true comedy horror, and it sticks true to the original storyline, which I love. And bringing back original actors, much like they did with Cobra Kai for the Karate Kid. Yes. Really, really, really good. Good ways of doing it. I think the first season had 8 episodes. The second season actually has. I think they signed up for 10 episodes for that one. So get out there, enjoy it. As I said, it's on Sci-Fi. If you are in Australia, 9 Now has it. I'm not sure in any other country.
I'm not sure where we'd get it here in Canada or in Europe. I know in the US it says it would be on the USA Network, which I think is a premium TV channel. Right. I'm not sure about Canada or international.
I believe Netflix has actually signed up to run it as well, which will start next year for the first season.
So it'll probably appear for us at some point later then.
Yeah, so it will eventually come on Netflix for a lot of people, I think. But at the moment, in Australia, 9 Now, and USA or Sci-Fi in America.
All right, sounds good. And, that keeps with the season of Halloween and whatnot. Good to keep it timely with this week's RS update and of course, the pick of the week and the clips that we have as well for the Patreon supporters. But I think that's it for this episode of Update. I don't believe there's anything else. You guys have anything before we go?
No, just as Chucky says, if you come aboard Fresh Start Worlds, you just want to play.
All right, so that sounds good. That sounds good. Tanis, you good?
Good.
All right. Well, with that being said, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Update. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, the best way to get it is to subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Pocket Cast, and more. Visit update.show/subscribe. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/RSBANDB. We post the video versions of the show there, along with the nibbles, short little clips of the podcast that people might find interesting. And if you like the podcast, do like and subscribe. Greatly helps the channel out. But with that being said, we'll be back next week for another episode of RSBANDB Update. See you then, everybody. Take care.
See ya.